Hello, my name is Nancy. I'm a retired teacher, an educator, a lifelong learner, a gardener, a mother, a grandmother. And I've recently published this book, Keeping Kids and Teens Safe and Happy, Helpful Tips for Parents and Grandparents to raise awareness of accidental child drownings and other avoidable accidents that happen to children. When I first moved to Connecticut 4 years ago, as I describe in the introduction, there were a number of accidental child drownings in my town and in other towns in Connecticut. It happens in all towns and cities across the United States and the world. Children from every ethnic group and every socioeconomic group, non-swimmers, get into trouble quickly in backyard pools and lakes and other natural environments. And with your help, I'm trying to raise awareness of this problem. If you have a backyard pool, you have to have all safety devices, gates, fences, pool alarms, and non-swimmers have to wear life jackets, and you have to watch them extremely carefully around backyard pools. Parties are a big problem because parents can get distracted during parties. Someone can call them away, they have to get something out of the oven, and children get into trouble quickly. So at all parties, when you have a backyard pool, you should always have a lifeguard hired or a mother's helper, someone responsible, watching the pool area from the beginning until the end of the party, so children stay safe. And so this book has two parts. Part one is keeping kids safe, and part two is keeping them healthy, engaged, and happy. So each show that I do, I'll have a suggestion or two from the first part of the book and a suggestion or two from the second part. Also, I will be reviewing from time to time. I'll also talk about growing up in Brooklyn, New York, because that's where I grew up, because it was a very interesting childhood. And I would like to bring some of those facets into this show as well. I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood in Brooklyn, Old Mill Base in Brooklyn. It was home to policemen, firemen, teachers, nurses, lawyers, business people. So there's a wide variety of people in that neighborhood. And also, it was very interesting because there were children and adults, of course, from all different religions, and everyone got along wonderfully. There was never any problems. I grew up in a two-family house with good food and laughter. And I'd like to highlight my brother today, my brother Arthur. He was a big part of my childhood. He was very smart and very witty, and there was a lot of joke-telling in the house and laughter, and he grew up to be funny and very, very smart. He went on to go to Columbia University and Cornell Medical School, and he received a lot of scholarships. He became a forensic psychiatrist, and we were best friends as well as siblings. And sadly, he died young at 41 years of age on August 31st, 1997, the same day as Princess Diana. So I was mourning with the whole world. And because he was my best friend and my therapist and my sibling, it took me a long time to get over his death. I was recently in Woodstock, New York, visiting friends, and I went to visit the cemetery there. The cemetery in Woodstock is right near town. It's a 5-minute walk from the middle of town, but it's very peaceful and quiet. And that's where my brother wanted to be buried, in Woodstock. He had a house there. So I went there and I prayed. There was a deer grazing nearby, and I was praying for his soul, that he was at peace, as I've done since he died. And in a future episode, I'll talk about life after death and why I believe the soul survives bodily death. And that will be a segment in the future. So I just wanted to bring up Arthur because I think it's important to pray for those relatives who have died. Now today we're going to start on a topic that you might think, oh, that's silly. Everyone knows how to cross the street. Well, yes, of course we all know how to cross the street, but unfortunately there are a lot of accidents and a lot of deaths because people are distracted when they're crossing the street, or drivers are distracted. So chapter 35 in the first part of the book talks about teaching children to be alert while crossing the street, in parking lots too, when using scooters, skateboards, and bicycles too. And I'm going to read from the book. Young children should always hold their parent, grandparent, babysitter, or guardian's hands when crossing the street or in a parking lot or parking garage. Parking lots can be dangerous as people get distracted backing out of parking spots. Many drivers are not paying attention and can accidentally hit pedestrians. Drivers admit they do not pay as close attention in parking lots when driving as they do on roads. The statistics prove that to be true. Over 50,000 accidents happen in parking lots in the United States each year, and some of those are fatalities. During the holiday season, drivers are even more distracted in parking lots. So just be very mindful of that. Drivers admit that they are not paying close attention in parking lots, and the statistics prove that out. From the website safekids.org, I gleaned this important information to share regarding teaching children how to walk safely. Start reinforcing this when children are young, so when they are old enough to cross the street on their own, it will be second nature to them. When crossing a street or road, look left, right, and then left again. Continue to be alert until safely across. Always cross the street at crosswalks or street corners, and never jaywalk. Jaywalking is dangerous for any age group. Children younger than 10 should always cross a street or road with an adult. Teach children to make sure they are seen by drivers by making eye contact if possible. Teach children to be alert to cars backing up, turning, or pulling out of a driveway. Make children aware of the danger of running into the street or darting out. Teach them to walk on the sidewalk or on paths. If older children are walking, running, bike riding, jogging, skating, or using scooters at night, they have to be especially careful, alert, and wear light-colored clothing and reflective clothing. Bikes should have lights as well. Helmets, as well as other protective gear, such as wrist guards, elbow pads, and knee pads, will lessen the chance of injury from falls or accidents. Remind preteens and teenagers that walking distracted by talking or texting on a cell phone can be dangerous, especially when crossing a street. Headphones should be removed, pulled down, or the volume turned off when crossing the street. Also remind them to always cross the street in a crosswalk, whether there is a signal or not, and obey traffic signals. They should walk quickly and not fool around. Jaywalking is dangerous because drivers don't expect to stop and might not see pedestrians. Sadly, I heard of a recent accident on Kings Highway in Brooklyn. Kings Highway is not actually a highway. It's a very busy roadway with stores on both sides of the streets, and it's near a train station. And there have been a lot of fatalities of people trying to cross the street on Kings Highway. And unfortunately, I heard of one recently, someone I knew from Brooklyn, whose husband left in the morning and he died on Kings Highway, tragically. Also, I know of another death of an older woman crossing Nostrand Avenue, another very busy roadway in Brooklyn. And she was jaywalking, an older woman, and the car couldn't see her, and she was killed right there. And I was thinking about it. It's a terrible way to die, being on the street like that. So it's really important that not all of us, not only children and teenagers and young adults, but all of us pay very close attention when we're crossing the street. And right here in Newtown, last October, there was a horrific accident. And one of those tragic deaths was the Botsford Assistant Fire Chief, Peter Bloomberg, who was hit and killed in October while crossing the street on his way to a fire commissioners meeting in Newtown. I mean, how horrific is that? He was doing his civic duty. He was going to a fire commissioners meeting, and whether the driver who hit him was distracted, I'm not sure of all the details, but that was terrible, and he was really mourned by the community, by the Newtown community. This is an interesting statistic and tragic. In 2024, there were about 63 pedestrian deaths in Connecticut. And also, in 2024, there were over 112 pedestrian deaths in New York City. So these numbers have to come down. These are tragic accidents. And by making people aware, by talking to your children, your teenagers, young adults, and also being mindful yourself, no matter what your age, when you're crossing a street or when you're in a parking lot, you have to be very, very careful. Common causes of pedestrian deaths: distracted drivers and drivers not focused, failure to yield, drivers not yielding at crosswalks and intersections, and impaired driving, speeding, marijuana use, drinking, and heavy traffic. Also, be very mindful to discuss with your teenagers electric bikes, scooters, and skateboards, because they can go considerably faster than regular ones. Because of their higher speeds, there have been accidents with pedestrians and cars, and many fatalities. So you have to speak to your young adults and your teens and older children about e-bikes and e-scooters and e-skateboards, as that can be a problem too. Now, a little bit happier subject, okay? I'm going to read and discuss something from part 2 of the book, Keeping Kids and Teens Engaged, Happy, and Healthy. And I've already, in the last show, discussed early morning sunlight and the benefits of being out early in the morning and absorbing the early morning sunlight. It will improve your vitamin D levels, which is very important. It'll help boost your mood throughout the day. So when you can, take a walk with your children in the early morning sunlight, and you will see that it will help their sleep pattern. It will also help their mood. And I was thinking about this. It's free, right? Getting out in the early morning sunlight and boosting your mood throughout the day, this is free, and it's available to all of us. And so try to do that. And another topic I'm going to talk today about, which is also free, is getting out in nature, the benefits of spending time in nature. And this is very interesting. Pediatricians, as well as health experts, are suggesting to parents that spending time outdoors in nature is healthy for children. It reduces stress, it improves mood, it provides opportunity for physical exercise, and improves mental health. Whether you go to a nearby park or plan a trip to a botanical garden, a state park, the beach, your family will reap many benefits for being in nature. Nature calms human beings, has a calming effect. And what's interesting is that the calming effect happens quickly. In one study, it was shown that exposure to nature can regulate the sympathetic nervous system within 5 minutes. So being out in nature can calm you within 5 minutes. So if your child is having a bad day or you're having a bad day, get outside, even in the winter. Put on warm clothes and go for a walk, and it'll change your mood, and it'll change it quickly. And it's free, so we can all do it. There's also many art forms in nature, which I find fascinating. And so they're complex art forms in wildflowers, in mushrooms and seashells, in honeycombs, spiderwebs, flower petals, bird feathers, tree branches, and rock formations, just to name some. So if you go for a walk in a park or a national park or a neighborhood park, look for different patterns in nature. That's something you can do with children. And this is an interesting term. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before. It's called forest bathing. It's a term coined by the Japanese Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries in 1982 to describe the benefits of being calm and relaxed in a forest and using your senses to appreciate the natural environment. If this is something you'd like to try, for part of the experience, try to walk in silence to absorb the beauty of the forest, and teach children to breathe deeply to take advantage of the calming effects of deep breathing and the smells of the forest. But here are some suggestions. Stay on hiking trails for safety and to avoid ticks. Dress properly, use walking sticks, have insect repellents in the summertime, and plenty of water and fruit. And of course, bear repellent spray if you live in Connecticut or another state where there's a large bear population. So there's also ways to bring nature home, as far as if you go to a museum and they have crystals. They have always gift shops in museums. If you go to a natural history museum, you can get some crystals such as amethyst or rose quartz, and unusual seashells for children to look at home. There are many museums of natural history in the tri-state area, and they're wonderful to visit. So I hope that you will consider getting outside more and taking your children for nature walks more. It will help them. It'll help them psychologically. It'll help them physically. Exercise, of course, is very important for children, and there will be another show all about the importance of exercise and sports for children. So I hope that you enjoyed this segment, and I would just like to say that getting out in sunshine and having the benefits of nature is something simple you can do. These tips that I'm going to give in this TV series are simple things that we can all do. If you'd like to send me any suggestions or email me, my website is keepingkidsandteensafeandhappy.com. It's a work in progress, but I do have a good recipe for homemade chicken soup on that website, so you can check that out. But email me if you would like to hear about a different topic. Even though there's a lot of pages in this book, eventually I'll get to everything in this book. But if there's something you'd like me to talk about, please email me and let me know how you like the show. Also, I will always be ending the show reading these final thoughts and blessings. Please read the special dedication at the end of this show. My book and this series is dedicated to children. Some final thoughts and hope for all of us. May I live with peace, and may you live with peace. May I live with goodness, and may you live with goodness. May I be kind to others, and may you be kind to others. May I find meaning and purpose in my life, and may you find meaning and purpose in your life. May I be a healing presence for others, and may you be a healing presence for others. May I remember to be grateful, and may you remember to be grateful. I would like to thank Western Connecticut Community TV for their training and support. Thank you for watching this show, and see you next time.